to the Roy Morgan Weekly Update. First, consumer confidence this week fell 3.4 points to 75, reversing last week's increase. Consumer confidence this week was down across all 5 mainland states, and driving the fall was a drop in confidence about personal finances compared to a year ago, and looking forward over the next year. Now, a record high 57% of Australians say they're worse off financially than this time a year ago. So the ANZ Roy Morgan Consumer Confidence has now spent a record 23 weeks below the mark of 80, recessionary risk territory. There was better news for inflation expectations. Australians are now expecting annual inflation to be 5.4% over each of the next couple of years. That's down 0.1% on last week. And this is now in line with the average level of inflation expectations so far this year, and also in line with the latest ABS monthly CPI indicator, which was at 5.4% for the 12 months to June. Turning now to the latest figures on Australia's employment. Real unemployment is down in July by 1.2% to 9.1%. However, underemployment, that's part-time and casual employees who are looking for more work, was up 0.2 percentage points to 9.5% in July. Overall, this is still good news, with overall unemployment and underemployment down 1% to 18.6% of the workforce, or an estimated 2.82 million Australians. Now, these monthly movements take place within the broader context of much longer term trends in the Australian workforce. The total number of people employed or looking for work. So the last year has shown a consistent trend with the Australian workforce growing rapidly. The working-aged Australian population hit a 22 million number in July, a record annual increase of 672,000 in the year to July 2023. This surge in the population helped drive the workforce up by 475,000 to almost 15.2 million. These large increases powered increases in both employment and unemployment. Overall, employment's up 340,000 from a year ago to almost 13.8 million. Full-time employment's up by 186,000, while part-time employment is up 154,000. But despite this growth in jobs, the number of unemployed Australians has also grown. Unemployment is up 135,000 and underemployment is up 164,000 compared to a year ago. That's a combined increase of 300,000 Australians now looking for work or looking for more work. And now turning to the key weekly indicators, there was little change this week, with the ALP support up just 0.5% to 53.5 compared to the coalition on 46.5 on a two-party preferred basis. Government confidence was down 1.5 points to 80 this week. That's the lowest it's been since the election of the Albanese government last year. And it's below the neutral level of 100 because a majority, 53% of Australians, still believe the country's heading in the wrong direction, and only a third say the country's going in the right direction. Now a look at business. And nearly 2/3 of businesses, 65%, say they're expecting bad economic times for the economy over the next year. Roy Morgan, as you probably know, interviews around 1,500 businesses each and every month, and a major concern for the government should be the continued fall in business confidence, with the contentious industrial relations changes being brought in. The overall results for July show Roy Morgan business confidence down 1.3 points to only 87.5, the lowest for nearly 3 years. That drop in business confidence came before the Reserve Bank left interest rates unchanged last week, but after the Reserve Bank also left interest rates unchanged in early July. Now, under a third of businesses say they're better off financially than a year ago, although there are more businesses with a positive view of their prospects over the next year, with 37.7% expecting to be better off financially. It's interesting, businesses must have some kind of an optimistic view about their own business, and Australian businesses tend to do that, even when they see fairly gloomy signs for the whole of the economy. And one bright spot is that nearly half of the businesses say the next 12 months will be a good time to invest in growing their business. That's up 3 percentage points on a month ago. Now, having said all of that, some sectors are far more confident than others. For example, education and training remain really high on 126.2, more than 40% higher than the national average. The education and training industry has been one of the largest beneficiaries from the end of COVID and the end of COVID restrictions. And confidence in this industry has been riding high, averaging over 120 over the last 12 months. Other industries with high business confidence include community services on 111.5, accommodation and food services on 109, and mining on 105.6. The mining industry in Australia has benefited hugely from the rebound from the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. The prices of key commodities like coal, gas and iron ore have soared over the last 2 years as economies reopened and then global export chains were redirected after Russia's invasion of the Ukraine in early 2022. So these key industries have boomed and have delivered the federal government its first budget surplus in 15 years, a record high of over $20 billion. In contrast, the electricity, gas and water industry continues to struggle, with business confidence at only 49.6. The same booming commodities are providing a squeeze on prices for electricity suppliers and especially gas. And that's a wrap for this week. Subscribe free to our Roy Morgan YouTube channel for all the latest political, economic and market research data and insights. Thanks for listening today. Take care, and we'll see you next Tuesday.